What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Now, earlier today, I was watching a highlight from the All-Star game that Kobe Bryant was in. It kind of like struck me that, obviously it was East versus West, but it kind of struck me as, that was like one of the rarest time in like the modern NBA that you see defense being played. And I kind of thought of something that I think no one is really talking about when it comes to the way that the All-Star game is being played currently. Now, when it comes to like fixing the All-Star game, a lot of people talk about maybe they need to have money on the line, maybe they need to have like this, maybe they need to insert this, that. But people got to realize that it's not like the NBA Cup where you got rookie or minimum salary players that's playing to like earn like a certain amount of money, like what is it, like an extra $500,000. These are the all-star players we're talking about. So just by the NBA, adding the extra, let's say even if it was like $1 million, to us $1 million is great, it's cool. But to these NBA players, $1 million, they'll spend that and they'll earn, they'll earn it back. So I think the problem as to why players not playing any defense, it's not that they particularly don't care. I just think the big problem really comes down to the fact that they're not fighting for nothing. Now, I don't mean like fighting for money. I don't mean fighting for let's say like an extra playoff spot for the team that wins or anything like that. Now, what I mean by that is we saw what the All-Star game was in the past and the players playing defense. So it kind of dawned on me that I believe the reason that the NBA players isn't giving 100% on defense is pretty simple. The reason is that they're not fighting for supremacy anymore. Because remember, before it became like a pickup game, which is basically what it is. So picture like you guys at the park, like the YWCA or something like that. And the guy, at the YWCA or at the park who's picking someone, like picking players to be up on their team, they're picking you up because they like, oh yeah, he got a nice jump shot, he got a nice this, he got a nice that. So when you get picked up, you're just doing like all type of cool stuff, and you can honestly like care less at defense. You give up on defense a lot. So when I say that they're not fighting for supremacy, what I mean is they're not fighting for their conference no more. Because like I said, it's basically a pickup game. So the reason that I believe that players isn't trying up on defense is because they're not fighting to see who's the better conference anymore, because it's not even about that no more. And yeah, don't get me wrong, like I do like the concept of picking up your own players, because like I said, if it was East versus West, you probably wouldn't see like the same people up on the All-Star game team and stuff like that. Because remember, I mentioned this up in one of my other videos, that the reason that they changed the format away from the East versus West, not to really do anything like cooler or anything like that, it's very simple. The league or anybody watching the All-Star games, they didn't want to see LeBron James and all those bums up in the East. Because remember, in the East, Giannis wasn't who he is right now. You had Embiid, who was still like a little bit young. You had the young Celtics that was up on there. So you had like no real All-Star up in the East besides LeBron. Like I said, I like the concept that they're going with now, but I'm just giving the reason that I believe that players aren't trying hard enough up on defense. It's basically just a wide open scrimmage out there. I do enjoy, like them drafting players or, picking whoever they want. That part is definitely very interesting. But yeah, man, I just think people got to realize that the reason these NBA players isn't playing the elite defense that you want to be playing in the All-Star game is, like I said, it's very simple. And to me, it's kind of like, why would I risk getting injured? And it's not even like about the money. Because yeah, at first I was against. I hate the way that the All-Star game is playing right now. That's why I'm getting up on here and talking about this. But once again, it's like, why would I get injured to play a game that basically means absolutely nothing? And what I mean by that, like I said, it's not even about like the money. What made the All-Star game so competitive is that no one wanted to be seen as the weaker conference. So when they took that concept away and they just made it like a free fall pickup game, think about this. In like 10 years, Team LeBron versus Team Steph, when you look back at who won those games, it's not gonna say Team East won or like Team West won. It'll just say like Team LeBron or like Team Steph. And if you want to know who's up on those teams, you'll probably have to like Google search it or something like that. The only way for the NBA to fix the All-Star game is just to send it back to its normal traditions, which was East versus West. East versus West is what made the All-Star game what it is today. And the reason players like actually tried up on defense or actually tried to win, because it wasn't really like who the better player was. It was about who was the best conference in the league. But yeah, man, I just think it's a very simple fix, man. Just send it back to East versus West. Let the players like fight for morals. Don't put money on the line, because that's not gonna work. Because at the end of the day, you can't lose money that you don't have. So if I'm an NBA player making like $40 million, and let's say they put $2 million up on the line and I lose, I'm not technically losing that money because it was never mine. Yeah, man, like I said, that was just something that was up on my mind, man. I think the only way to fix the NBA All-Star game is just to send it back to East versus West. Don't give the winner, like $500,000, because like I said, these guys are already millionaires. So you waving a flag saying, hey, if you win, you get $500,000, that's not really going to work for All-Stars who's making like $40 million a year. But yeah, man, let me know if you guys agree with this. I just wanted to get up on here and, talk about my thoughts up on why the NBA All-Star game is basically what it is. Because like I said, number one, when it was East versus West in like the late 2010s, nobody wanted to watch LeBron James and all the bums up in the East go against Steph, KD, James Harden, all those juggernauts in the West. Nobody wanted to watch that. I do understand like why they did what they did with the All-Star game format, but I'm just specifically speaking up on the fact that if you want something to change, then it just have to go back to East versus West. I believe that that's the only thing that would make the defense better up in the All-Star games. Because like I said, remember when it was East versus West, those was the most competitive All-Star games that we've seen. So yeah, man, please get in the comments. Let me know if I'm bugging or if I hit it spot on, or you tell me what the NBA can do that can fix these All-Star game issues. Until then, man, I wanted to wish everybody a happy new year. I hope you move on from every bad thing that happened in 2025. I hope you get all the blessings in life that you're looking for this year. But until then, once again, happy new year's, everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep doing more of these videos. But until then, I'll catch you guys later. I'm out. Peace.